Hey, what's going on, everyone? I am back for another Slim Sports interview. And as always, I'm your host, Jay Slim. And joining me today is a true leader at the linebacker position for Nicholls over the past 4 years. Now, still going to be in the Southland Conference, but repping a new uniform for the Southeastern Louisiana Lions, just coming off an FCS playoffs appearance. He's looking to take them back and make an even further run in the playoffs next year. Ladies and gentlemen, 6 foot tall linebacker, Jake Dalmado. How's it going, Jake?
It's going good. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Excited to get you on. Been in contact with you since week one of the season where you guys had a dominant win over UIW. Saw what you did in that game. Made sure to get in contact with you early on. And it's been a while, but finally able to get you on the podcast like I've been wanting to because, man, your highlights definitely need to be shown off. You had some big time hits this past season. But before we get into the highlights later on, I want to talk about some of the accolades to your name real quick in a quick segment that I like to call Resume Rundown. I'm going to show off a nice little graphic right here with your resume, what you've been able to do. Two-time All-Southland Conference selection. 2024, you were first team All-Conference selection. This past season, second team All-Conference. Helped Nicholls to the national playoffs back in 2023. So you have that playoff experience, able to really pile on the numbers as well as some wins throughout your career with that team. And you were one of the key members of the defense returning from that 2024 class. I know Ty Marsh came back, as well as a couple of others that were able to come in and really continue making an impact. I know you guys had some crucial defensive linemen that returned as well. How would you say you were able to really step up even further in 2025, coming off of a first team all conference season where you were able to take that next step further?
Yeah, so 2024 was actually the first year I played linebacker. That spring, they moved me from running back to linebacker. So after, that 2024 season, it really gave me the confidence, get after getting first team to, take a step into more of like a leadership role, gave me the confidence, to play faster, more physical, knowing more of the ins and outs of the defense. So I would definitely say just being more comfortable.
Hey, I mean, first year at that position, obviously you put up some great numbers there in that 1 year in 2024. And then obviously this past year put up some great numbers once again, had over 100 tackles, 3.5 sacks, 7.5 TFLs, a pair of forced fumbles, and a pair of fumble recoveries. UIW, first game of the season, 9 tackles, a sack and a half there. Going against Eastern Kentucky, 11 tackles and a sack there as well. And then Stephen F. Austin, very talented team that ended up going to the FCS playoffs as well. 11 tackles, forced fumble, fumble recovery going against the Lumberjacks. So you were able to compete with the best of the best, showcasing what you could do, especially with that IQ at that linebacker position. And that UIW win, like I mentioned before, that was the game when I first reached out to you. You guys dominated week one, and this defense was able to hold them to just 2 field goals. And you guys were able to kind of set the tone with your defense, what you guys were expecting from each other. You guys knew that you could get those takeaways, intercept the passing lanes. You guys knew you guys at the linebackers position were able to blitz. Defensive line did a great job as well, 1 through 11. Talking real quick about how that game kind of set the tone for the standard of the defense moving forward, even despite a rough stretch following.
Yeah, so going up, leading into that game, we were so dialed into that game. We knew exactly what to expect. The coaches had a great game plan for that game, and going through the whole offseason, spring, fall, summer with those guys, we couldn't wait till that week zero game. We knew a lot of eyes were going to be on that game. Being a week zero game, and you could just see us playing for one another, and it was just even the heat. Like I remember a bunch of guys catching, me included, full body cramps, and we were going in and getting IVs, coming back out. That was one of the most fun games I've been a part of for sure. But due to injuries, it was a rough stretch after that game. But that game was one to remember for sure. We were just so prepared, so ready for that one.
Yeah, and you were a true leader for this team, like I mentioned before. I mean, you led the team in tackles, over 100 tackles again, and you were able to really be one of those guys that people look to for, hey, what are we doing? How are we going to execute? How are we going to go out there and get this dub? I know Ty Marsh and Anthony Rogers, they spoke very highly of you and E. Lee doing what you guys did on this team as those big time leaders. Talk me real quick about how you would describe that role, how you would describe being that leader both on and off the field as a veteran in this program.
Yeah, I would say, it comes with responsibility, but at the same time, like, some of those younger guys, like they'll look at you, being an older guy, you just gotta, when things are going good, it's going good, but what are you gonna do when things are going bad, right? So they'll kind of look at you, you know, me just trying to keep cool, calm, and collected, keep a positive attitude, but those guys, I'm gonna miss playing with those guys. We had a special group for sure. We loved playing for one another. We were friends even off the field, like we were hanging out and stuff. But just being a leader, being an older guy, I would say the main thing is keeping it calm when things are going bad. It's easy when things are going good, but what type of player are you when things aren't going your way, right? So I would just say keep it cool, calm, and collective.
Hey, absolutely. You guys definitely had a lot of talent there. Ty Marsh, he's getting ready for the NFL draft, hoping to hear his name and be able to go off, continue his career at the pros. Anthony Rogers, who I had on as well, now off at Tulane, who obviously
Yeah,
just made the national playoffs at the FBS level. So you guys had a whole lot of time. And then, I mean, obviously yourself, you had offers from, I believe, UCF. You went on a visit there, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, I had a visit there.
Yeah, you were able, I mean, you had some teams that were looking at you, and obviously Southeastern Louisiana, they are so much talent. And obviously, like I mentioned before, made it to the national playoffs. They're looking to go back once again. You've gone against them the past couple of years, and we'll touch on that a little bit more here in a moment. But first, I got to finally show off some of these highlights that you had this past season, some of the big time hits, big time plays that you made in a segment that I like to call Make That Play, where I'm going to show off what I feel like were your top three plays from this past season from the film that I could find. But obviously, I'm just a fan of the stands. I'm just a stats guy. You're the one on the field doing what you do best. So, what would you say was your best play from this past season?
Uh, I would say probably that UIW sack. Making that tackle miss 1-on-1 because that kind of set the tone. After that play, we were rolling, and that kind of set the tone. For the defense that season. So I would probably say that sack, either that one or maybe the SFA forced fumble.
Hey, well,
But
funny enough, those are my top two as well. I'll get into which one is one here in a bit, but first off, I got to start off at number three, and that's actually your fumble recovery against UIW, where it was a high snap. Ball ended up going flying past the quarterback, and the speed and athleticism that you showed to just get past everybody, boom, made a beeline straight for the ball. And you were able to just put focus on there, dove right on top of it, got the ball back for your offense to basically help clinch the game. Number two, I do have that forced fumble against SFA where the running back came over to your side. Obviously, he wished that he went over to the other side now, looking back at it, because you wrapped him up and punched that ball right on out, where you're able to force that fumble, create a big time turnover to get offense the ball back in their possession once again. And number one, huge sack and the forced fumble against UIW, where you came in season opener, came in strong off the edge, guns blazing, swim move right past the offensive line to get to the quarterback and hit him hard while he was kind of in that halfway into that throwing motion, forced that fumble, and actually set them back to where they ended up having a 16-yard loss. It was second and 26 the play after. So obviously you were able to help out your defense in any way you could this past season. Obviously had some pass breakups as well. Obviously the forced fumbles, big time TFLs and sacks throughout the year. And as this leader on the team, you know that, okay, we know what we can do. We talked about it before. You guys had a lot of talent, 1 through 11 on the starting defense, and had some great guys coming off the bench that were able to produce as well. But the season didn't go the way that you guys were expecting it to. Had a couple of rough games, had some rough injuries, played two very talented FBS teams. I know Troy was that second game of the season, and you guys had a little few hiccups here and there. But you, as that leader, you know what you guys could do. What was your message to the rest of the team to continue to find ways to improve, find ways to produce despite the outcomes?
yeah, I would just say I would tell teams, take it week by week. You know, when you lose a tough one, that Troy one, obviously that one hurt because that was an FBS team. We knew that was a we were winning that game all the way. We were winning that game up until half, and after that week, you could kind of see some heads hanging, because after that week zero game, we had such high hopes. But, dealing with injuries, the whole year, especially defensive line, we were playing with offensive linemen on defensive line, which is tough. But I would just tell the guys, keep it positive, play for one another, continue to take it week by week, and that's really all you can do. But yeah, I would say that.
Yeah, I mean, you guys, in my opinion, had one of the toughest schedules in all of FCS, to be honest with you. I mean, Southland Conference, it seems like any team from the Southland always has two FBS opponents on their schedule. A lot of these other FCS teams will have one, if not, zero FBS teams. So you guys are already going against some really talented programs there. Ended up going 4-8 overall on the season, 4-4 in Southland Conference action, and competed against three teams in conference play that all made it to the national tournament in SFA, Southeast Louisiana, and Lamar. So, like I said, you guys are going against the best of the best, and you guys were able to compete with a lot of these very talented teams. Southland Conference is no joke. Had that 20-6 win over UIW, and then back-to-back 31-7 wins over McNeese and then Houston Christian. So, still able to show that this defense can hold teams to one score or less, be one of the top defenses, even despite the injuries. So, talk to me real quick about this toughness in the schedule and how do you feel like that was able to help you as a player improve?
Oh yeah, it's tough. There was no doubt we knew going into the season. I mean, opening up with UIW, the defending champs, but we knew going into the season it was going to be a battle. But we also knew the talent that we had on the team, and especially the defense. But I would just say, like I said, week by week, and as a player growing from the schedule, it just only made me better, right? Playing better competition only can make you better. So, and moving positions, I played a lot of Sam, in 2024. I think this year I played a lot of Will, even Mike, and even Bandit. Just moving positions. You can learn from anything. Wins, losses, like there's a bunch of things I learned this past season that I'm grateful for, win or loss. But you can learn from anything, and that's what I'm grateful for.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And obviously, after this season, you decide to enter the transfer portal. You have this graduate transfer year where you're able to continue your career for one more year. I mean, with eligibility, you might be able to be there for another four. I don't know at this point, to be honest, but we know that in 2026, you are suiting up for the Lions. After getting offers from, like I said, UCF, you went on an official visit. They had some interest in you. You had a lot of other schools that looked at your talent, said, okay, this guy can be a part of our program. What was it about the Lions specifically to where you felt like that would be the best fit for you moving forward?
Yeah, the portal was crazy. I was getting a bunch of people, hitting me up. I was talking to a lot of schools like UCF, Tulane, Old Dominion, like a bunch of schools. And when I actually went to high school with the linebackers coach, Coach Nunez at Southeastern, so he had called me up, and at the time I was going to my official visit to UCF. I said, "Look, I'm when I hit back in Louisiana, I'm let you know because I live 30 minutes away from Southeastern." And he was like, "Yeah, like we want to get you down, stuff like that." So I was like, "All right." When I come back, well, he was friends with my brother in high school. He called my brother. He's like, "What are we doing? Like, we got to get him over here. Get him on a visit, get him on campus." So I stuck to my word. I go back there. I when I get back from UCF, I took a visit over there, and man, it felt at home. Like meeting with Coach Selfo, everybody knows how he is a coach, well known coach. But as a person, like you could see all the kids, how well respected he is, how he respects them. He talks to them like they're real people, and it felt at home from the whole coaching staff. Like everyone was just so welcoming, and how I looked at the players and how they talk to the coaches and how they when they pass by, if they tell the players, hey, like that's the stuff I look at. They're such a small community like Nicholls and family environment, and that's what I love. I came from a small high school, Archbishop Hannon, and I've always loved that small family environment. So when I went to Southeastern, I remember leaving that visit and talking to my family and saying, yeah, like this might be it, this might be home. So it just felt right. 30 minutes away. My grandpa was an alumni at Southeastern. He was a played running back at Southeastern, and my brother was an alumni. My brother went to Southeastern, so it just felt like the right fit overall for sure.
They have some great facilities over there. I've been able to interview a couple of their basketball players over the past couple of years, and I mean their facilities overall, obviously a whole lot of talent there throughout all of their sports. And for football specifically, this past year, one of the top defenses in all of FCS. You're coming in at that linebacker position, and obviously you played against them the past couple of years in Southland Conference action, to where you know what they can do on defense, and you're looking to come in, blend into their system, be a part of their program that, like I said, you already kind of have an idea of what they're about. And obviously after this visit, you have an even better idea. How do you think you're going to be able to really blend into their system, into their scheme in the 2026 season to where you guys can make it back to the playoffs and hopefully go on an even further run?
Yeah, so honestly, just doing what I'm asked. They want to play me at will. Sam, Mike, I'm here to help the team win. Obviously, last year we saw what they did. They went to the playoffs and lost to Illinois State, but we also saw how far Illinois State went. So Southeastern's close. Playing against them every year, they're a force to be reckoned with. They play fast, physical, and that's the type of game that I like. I feel like that's the type of game that I play, and I think that's why they recruited me and they saw the type of motor that I produce, and whatever I can whatever I could do to help this team win, and was what I'm gonna do. And starting spring ball so far, seeing how all these guys are, I mean, it feels right at home. These guys are so welcoming. They play for one another. That's how I play. They play for their coaches, and that's how I play as well. So it's an easy transition. Coach Nunez, he's such a great coach, teaching me the ins and outs of defense. So when season comes around, we're going to be rolling for sure.
Hey, there you go, man. Can't wait to see what you guys do with the Lions next season. And I know that obviously you said it yourself. You're very big on the family environment that you guys have there. Obviously, you guys had that in Nicholls as well. We've shout out some of your teammates already. And I'm going to give you a chance to shout out even more from Nicholls or even from Southeastern Louisiana or even at other schools entirely in this segment that I like to call Who's Up Next, where you get the opportunity to shout some people out, recommend some guys that I should look at their numbers, look at what they've done throughout their careers to get them on the podcast to talk about their careers and their stories, just as you're doing now. So, who would you say is next up on the Some Sports podcast?
You said you had Ethan Lee, huh?
I have not had him yet, but he has been recommended. I am trying to reach out to him.
Ethan Lee for sure. I think he just got one more year left of eligibility. I would say, you know, from Southeastern, I would say keep your eye on Landon Ibieta. He's I grew up with him. He's coming off an injury, but when he's played, you're gonna hear his name a lot. So keep up with Landon Ibieta, Kyle, the quarterback, and I'd say I'm gonna shout out two linebackers that I've been playing with at Southeastern, Ray and Jo. They've been teaching me a lot of the ins and outs of the defense, but they can play some ball too. So I would those are the ones that come to mind. I know I'm leaving some people out, but those are the ones that come to mind right now.
Hey, there you go. Those are definitely some great names right there, and I know all of them are some dogs from Ely to those guys with the Lions. I know you obviously you know ball yourself. You have that high IQ, so they are some dogs. Definitely got to reach out to them and get them on the podcast to talk about their stories. And those are great names for who's up next. But now we got to talk about what's next for yourself. Obviously, you mentioned it right there. You guys are in the spring ball part of the season, getting ready for fall coming up in the 2026 season to go on that run back to the playoffs, do what you guys do. How are you looking to really improve your game further this offseason to where you can go in once again, be an all conference performer and contribute to that championship mentality that the Lions have?
Yeah, I mean, you can always learn. Always, I would say for me, mostly is obviously I had 100 something tackles last year. I would say more focus on coverage. Show that I could drop back, do coverage. I would say that that's probably the only film I don't have a lot of is me dropping back in coverage. And I would say, learning the ins and outs of, what to look at, what routes to look at, what are your keys. So I would just say definitely coverage, dropping back, looking, reading quarterback and showing a lot of highlights, intercepting the ball and breaking on the ball and doing things that I know I could do to where scouts are looking at that as well.
Hey, there you go, man. Definitely can't wait to see what you do with the Lions next year, going off running the Southland Conference and not just having one of the best defenses next year, but probably the best defense in FCS. I'm already calling it with you at that linebacker position with what they're able to do. Cannot wait to see what 2026 has in store for y'all, man. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. I know it's been a while, but blessed to be able to get you on the podcast finally for this fantastic interview, man. So thank you so much.
No, thank you. We appreciate you. Thank you for all that you do, man.